Never be satisfied with one source of income. What's going on, family? Black Phoenix checking in. Right now, I am inside of the HogOn University at my mom's house. And I was thinking this morning about that. I actually talked to a gentleman, and he was talking about how he's been getting down in his health. He's not that much older than me, maybe 5 years older than me, maybe 10, but probably 5 to 10 years older than me. And he was like, man, I'm trying to do something different now. And he said, I'm trying to do some subcontractors and get some people in where I'm making a little money and I allow them to do the work because I can't really do certain things now. And I was like, man, that's the goal the whole time, not to us to just use our earned income and just work, 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 work. Because a lot of times we'll use our physical bodies and family, your body can only go through so much abuse before it starts responding to the job that you do. That's why every job has its flaws. Every job has its limitations, or I would say um, expectations as far as what's going to happen from doing certain positions for a long period of time. So, needless to say that it's nothing wrong to switch things up, but to think, we're growing into a new year. It's 2022, knocking on 2023, and we have to think different, family. Especially in this time where we understand that you can't use a job as your stability. You can't think that, oh, this job is the only source of income that's going to protect me when things go left field, especially if you're not saving, or if you don't have any good skills on saving, or if you're not putting nothing back for a rainy day, because you always have to, because there will be a rainy day. So a lot of times we don't do that. We expect everything is going to be good all the time, and it won't. Sometimes back in the day, I used to get upset thinking about insurance, and I believe that insurance is needed, but I don't think that it's something that they should mandatory, make it mandatory for you to have. But it is needed to protect the person. So I have gotten situations where I didn't have the proper insurance and I lost, and I learned that, man, next time I invest in something, I got to make sure I have some insurance on it to cover my investment, just in case anything in life happens. Because if it's worth enough for you to put a big amount of money into to invest, I think that it's also worth you putting some insurance on it to cover it, just in case anything happens. It's a wise thing. But I want to talk about having more than one source of income. And I'm a welding instructor, family. I teach welding. I'm a welding engineer. I've been a field welder and a shop welder. I have installed, erected. And one thing that I realized with welding allows a person to enjoy each season of his stage, but I can actually stay in it all of my life, but just do different things. Like I don't I can start out really hitting it hard, being in the field. Then you can go to guiding and doing shop things as far as foremans and and managers, and then you go from teaching, and then you go from running the company that other people teach, and well, and you still got things going. That's a process, you know what I mean? So we shouldn't get caught up in thinking there's only one way. But I will say this: we have to uh, we have to learn about stocks. I think that it's wise that we put a percentage of our money, not all your money, but put a percentage of it in some stocks. So that way you can make money while you're sleeping. And then you also want to have a business. Something, see, the goal is we have to stop depending on our physical bodies to bring in all the money. You're not going to get stable or rich this way. You're going to get ahead, and then if anything happens, you're going to have to get back on it. So the rich, they use their money to make money. See, a lot of times we want to shine and ball at certain stages and years in our life, instead of being like an ant, that's going to work hard through the summer. And so when it's in winter time comes, 3, 4 months of winter or whatever, he ain't even tripping. Like, man, we got plenty. We chilling. We've been working hard. We're gonna relax, throw some parties, have some family members over. You know what I mean? We got to think like that, and that's why I understand the concept now. Why Solomon was comparing the ant, that we need to be busy like him. You know what I mean? In the proper season, but never put all of your money in one area, and never depend on just one source of income, family. Like, and that's one thing I love about welding, because you can produce products, services, and you can also educate. So there's a few different things you can do that kind of can keep you above the water, but you have to find your niche. And I think today we just have to find ways to make money. Because see, sometimes we think that all the things we do to make money got to be heartfelt. Some things, it is what it is. People gonna always buy certain retail things, so you should invest some money into some retail things that you know is always gonna sell. Some things you might have a big purpose or might have a big vision. Like, oh, I get this together, everybody's gonna love it. And it might not be like this, but we know what works. So why not sell what works? Keep us some money going while we work on this big thing that we're trying to present to the world. Um, I just think it's wise, fam, especially with what's going on now. We shouldn't get caught up in having just only one way to do it, because, we seeing that um, us depending on one way, like depending on grocery stores, depending on this store, depending on that to come in. It's not going to work, fella. We're going to have to diversify. We're going to have to start going back to the roots and, even on the food shortages. I think that it's wise. I've been seeing brothers and sisters out gardening and getting them some chickens and getting them some, some farm animals, and start raising some own veggies and cooking own meals and living, off grid and just trying to enjoy life without being burdened with being charged for everything. You know what I mean? And but as long as we're in America, family, we know that this is a market, this is a system, it's a business. So we have to figure out how to think business in America. Like, you have to use a job to get you over the hump in America. A job is just a stepping stone, fam. We want to, it says if a man don't work, he don't eat. We want to have something that we're doing, but it's not necessarily doing it for someone else. You know what I mean? We have to come up with different ways to allow our money. I want to say this a lot because people don't fully understand this. We have to allow our money to make us money. Like, not just our strength and our sweat and our blood and tears. You know what I mean? We have to learn how to use that wallet. Learn how to make this make money instead of this making money all the time. You know what I mean? And I believe as we practice on it, as we start putting more information in front of it, because that's what it's about. Once you start feeding your mind with new information and you start opening it up and realizing, man, there is another way. Man, I can do some affiliate marketing. I can get my website going. Things take money to make money, but sometimes it don't take a whole lot, but it does take something. So we have to make some type of sacrifice and realize, okay, this is why I'm doing this. I'm trying to do this. I'm going to go on and put this to the side to do this. But if you just sit on your money, fam, your money is losing value because of inflation. You know what I mean? I can give you a realistic standpoint. I put a lot of money into my mom's house, cash. And starting out, I was able to get some things at a good price. And then inflation hit, family. You got inflation hit where the normal 4x8 sheets of plywood that I had to get went from $16 to 80 something dollars. So how much is $100 now? Now I got to spend $200 to get 2 sheets instead of spending $100 and getting 4 to 5 sheets. So everything is different, and you realize that in this market, when they got to dumping a lot of money into the market, that they was going to jack up some numbers so that some of the consumers and some of the retailers can get some of the money that they was dumping out into the market. So we have to be wise, fam. I really think now is the time for us to really start thinking LLCs, thinking business, thinking investments. If you're in a certain area, look for a need. What does that area need? Address the need. Family, I have always learned this. When I was in prison, I was doing my study in small business management. It stuck out to me, this chapter that talked about if you find a need, you solve a problem, you start a business. Find a need, solve a problem, start a business. And it just stayed in my mind. Find a need, solve a problem, start a business. And that's what we have to do, fam. We have to find a need in whatever area we are in. If you're traveling, wherever you are, you find a need and you come up with a way to solve the problem of that need, then there go your business right there. You just have to learn how to structure everything. There's different avenues now that are paid. You can go through one source and they'll set up the business license, set up the account, do everything for you. or you can learn and go on Google and YouTube and do some things yourself. And I mean, that's how I learned. I was self-taught on how to get my EIN and start my LLC and get my license, and how to present so and so things to the bank, and how to build credit. Some things I learned. Some things I learned from errors. I'm gonna tell you one thing. I'm gonna share with you real quick that I learned from error. I was trying to build up my credit, and I got a secure credit card. So I got a secure credit card for $1,000 that I put on it. And my goal is, I was thinking, well, I get this secure credit card. My rent at the time, my lot rent and everything from my RV and water and lights and everything was like $800. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna pay that out of that every month and then put that back in there. And that way I'm building up, my credit. Well, come to find out, I did that for a whole year, family, and it really, really didn't help me. And I was disturbed, like, man, why didn't my stuff go up? And the lady was like, well, you did good, but this is how you got to do it. I'm like, well, why y'all don't tell us that, when we set up the account, they just rush you to get this account. And she said, well, the goal is, if you put $1,000 in there, you want to only spend 30% of that money and put it back. You don't want to put it in there where it seems like you need all of the money or so majority of the money every time. It want to seem like it can use the money and you only need a short piece of the money, and you throwing 30% back. So if you put $1,000 in there, you don't want to use over $300 a month and then pay it back. You want to keep a bigger stash put away, and that's how you will build your credit faster. And I'm sharing this with you because I had to learn from error, family. I did it for a whole year. You know what I'm saying? Thinking, man, I know my stuff gonna be better, and I was paid someone $500 to work on some things. I was paying, and still I'm like, man, I'm chasing my tail, because some things we have to learn, family, by putting in the work. It is what it is. So you're gonna even pay the right way and find you the right people to put you in the right position, because there's nothing wrong with it. Like, we have to learn that there's nothing free. So if it costs you a little bit or a little time, go on and pay that to get your business right, so that way you ain't got to go back. You know what I mean? So I'm only sharing that because we have to learn from our errors, and I don't mind sharing that with you because that's something that I've done that I didn't know. So if you're going to get a secure credit card to build your credit, make sure you only use 30% of what it allows you to put in. If it's 500, only use 30% of that 500. So whatever you're putting in there to build it up, it can happen. It will build it, but that's how you got to do it. They don't want to tell us that when we get started, family. You know what I mean? So a lot of things I learned independently to start my business, and buying products, from buying welders, from traveling, trying to do jobs, bidding on jobs. I had to realize I had to start charging a service call fee just to go out, because people will just call you 20 minutes, 30 minutes out. You drive there, you drive back, you talk to them, you waste time, you go back, nothing ever happened. So I just had to say, I got to come up with a bare minimum, or it ain't even worth me moving around. And once I started doing it, and I got to telling people, it took a second for a minute, and then it worked out fine. And then they started, saying, okay, no problem. My bare minimum was 75, and it depends on where I'm going. So I had a 2-hour minimum at $150, and then I had a bare minimum at 75. Depends on if it was in a certain radius that I charge. So, you have to learn how to network yourself, but you learn from experiences. So I will say this: we have to learn how to not depend on one source of income. We have to be open to, if we go left field in the area, it wasn't a mistake. Don't look at that just being a mistake. It was a good lesson, because now you can learn from that, and you can even share it when you can build off of it. You know what I'm saying? But we have to come up with something different, fam. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm in my hometown. I'm in McGee, Arkansas, and I've been doing everything independently, and I haven't been dependent on the area. I've been dependent on the seeds that I planted before I came to the area. Now, I did go out and reach out. I went to Safe Holland while I was down here, and actually, I went in, family, like I did a video saying I went in like an undercover cop. You know what I mean? I wanted to come in and mingle with some brothers in the area, let them know I'm here and what I do, see exactly what the company do, so I can know how to teach the people that need to employment. I learned what they do and say, okay, now I can step back. Plus, I was working on some renovations in my mom's house, and things got a little sticky. I had some plumbing problems, issues that I had to get fixed, and so the money ended up getting up and up. So I'm like, I'm gonna use this little bit to kill two birds in one stone. So that's what I did. So, like I say, there's more than one way to think about things, but in life, We have to realize that if we don't learn how to use our money to make money, our bodies will always make money, and then we're going to be like some of the people I seen at the RV park who finally got a chance to do the RVing, but they end up dying in the RV park. They got too old. A lot of them died in their sleep, heart attacks. They failed and hurt themselves, and they were just trying. They did the 40 years on the job, 50 years, 30 years, 20 years, 25, 30 years and retired. Now they're ready to enjoy life, and they couldn't because they started too young, too early. I mean, too late. So just want to give a big ups, man. If you're young, you're in your 20s, grind now. So that way, in your 30s, you can kick your foot up and start living life and knowing your direction. And so I just wanted to say, use your money to make money. Find multiple sources of income from investing in stocks, bonds, LLC businesses, product services, affiliate marketing, um, whatever you can do, sponsorships. So whatever you can do to create multiple sources of income, family, I will promote y'all to do that, like especially now. So I just wanted to say that today. Wanted to go in on it because I was thinking about the gentleman I was talking to this morning about how his body is getting down on him, and he still got bills to pay. So we don't want to get to that point where we're broke down and trying to figure it out. Let's figure it out before we get broke down. You know what I'm saying? Before you get to hurt, let's go on and figure out something. So if that ever happens, you never depended on that. We don't want to get to the point where you have to depend, you broke down, and you still got to go punch the clock. You know what I mean? So let's break that chain of thinking. Let's learn how to build up some generational wealth. Let's learn some financial literacy, and let's obtain some freedom. And the real freedom is to be able to go and come, to build and to uplift. So the goal at the end of the day is to get freedom, but we know it takes money to make money in America, and you actually got to buy your freedom in America. It is what it is. So y'all be blessed, continues to prosper. I appreciate everybody for checking in. Black Phoenix.